So the story from 1 Kings chapter 19, the story of Elijah on the run for his life. And he comes to the point where all he can say is, "My Lord, take my life. I've had enough." I love this story because at some point or another in our own day-to-day life, all of us hit the wall. All of us hit fatigue. All of us seem like it's just too much. We're picking up too many things. We're running from fire burning to this fire to that one. It seems like we're running all around, tending this and tending that. And we just get tired. And sometimes to remember that rest in food is courageous in itself. Especially rest in food when we know God has strength for us in the days ahead. But sometimes rest is the answer. Food is the action. We live in a culture that judges us so much by what we do and what we accomplish and what we earn and how we do this. And sometimes the best thing to do is to step back and just rest and take nourishment. All of us at one point or another have felt like we are just exhausted. And sometimes when we get tired, it seems like we get tired again, even faster the next time we have to go through some craziness. I have a friend who has a big yard. And in their yard, they have a lot of trees. And every year, the sticks need to be gathered and either chopped up and mulched or burned. And you know, you can't just make one huge bonfire. The city wouldn't be happy about that. Not to mention, it doesn't make sense to take all these sticks that have fallen down all over the place because the yard is huge. So it seems intelligent to make a bunch of little fires. And so my friend spent an entire day burning what has fallen down that needs to be cleaned up. And it's something that has to be done every year. Every year in the spring, you got to clean up what has deadfalled through the winter. And it's tiring and exhausting. I think every one of us can relate to the idea that we seem to have a fire burning here and a fire burning there and a fire burning there, and we got to keep going from spot to spot. But sooner or later, the fires burn down. They burn out. And we find ourselves tired. And there we sit. You know, there's a lot of reasons we have fires burning in our lives. And sometimes those fires that burn are contemplative and meditative and filled with memory. And sometimes the fires around us seem to get out of control and they need more attention and more action. But what I do know is that after a good, hard day of tending fire, it's always good to sit, to see what's been collected and see what's been done. That's a physical tired. It's a physical exhaustion. There's also a mental exhaustion that comes along with life as well. And sometimes as we sit to contemplate of what we have done and what is yet still to be done, that can institute a physical exhaustion, or rather a mental and spiritual exhaustion, I mean to say. And to that we hear Jesus speak direct. First of all, Jesus talks about the wise and intelligent things are revealed to infants. We should be blessed by young people around us, preteens and teens and little kids. The one blessing that they have is when they don't want to do something, they generally just tell us they don't want to do it. And there's a bravery. You know, when it's time to pick up sticks in my yard, guess who wants no part of it? The kids. The younger ones, because it's boring, it's monotonous. And yet we as adults look around at the sticks that have fallen down, that need to be collected, that need to be burned, the things that need to be done in the next few months, and the things that we should have done in the last months. We know all that work exists, and oftentimes, unlike children, we drudge through it, and we do it sometimes, and we grumble, and we're not happy, and we complain. We hear Jesus saying, the kids are the smart one. At least they complain. And then we hear Jesus say, but if you are weary, if you are carrying heavy burdens, come to me and I will give you rest. He says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light. We hear in this type of exhaustion that Jesus truly is our rest. Because ultimately Jesus says, abide in me, think of me, be nourished in me. That way, out of the fires that we tend, the busyness we accommodate all around us in our life, we find a spiritual renewal. Even in the busyness of daily work, we find renewal. So my friend, as they collect sticks and burn them, finally sits down and out of the fire grabs a potato that at some point had been tossed in the flames earlier in the day. And from that potato, which was from that busy fire of life, came nourishment. And there she sat with her husband and ate a potato to be refreshed and renewed. But really, it wasn't her great idea. Part of eating that potato was remembering her mom, because her mom used to love to put potatoes in fires. And so now, in the midst of physical exhaustion, from the flames that were burning comes nourishment and memory and faith. My friend is Marcia. And about a year ago, she started gathering the sticks from this church to put them in order, to decide what needs to be done, to clean up things here, to get us ready to transition. She's been doing it for a year, and she'll do it till June. But the thing about Marcia is, as she gathers and burns and brings order, at the heart of the flames, the busyness, and the activity is the food that comes from the fire, the faith that was shared with her, and the faith that she leaves with us. Because it's not really about her. It's about the nourishment that comes from the work. The nourishment that is taught from someone else. A faith that is handed down from generation to generation, and the ability to pass it on to the next. All of us experience fatigue, the busyness, and all of us have opportunities to sit and reflect, to think of what nourishment comes from the fires we have tended, and to think about how when we remember Christ and what Christ teaches us about burdens and yokes and easiness, as we teach that lesson to others, how they too will someday experience the same. And remember, there's always nourishment in the fire, and that nourishment is God's love and grace. Amen. Please rise as we sing